Uh, isn't that already released?
Yeah, but they're just showing all the tweaks that they're still making for it and all the updates that they're still doing.
Gotcha. Okay, we're live again. Matt has returned from his sleep and is with me. He is watching the PC show, and he is going to update us if anything cool is going on there. It seems like right now they're just showing off Armor 3, which you can play right now, so I don't need to watch them do that.
Showed
Um,
off Killing Floor a bit, but
yes, they showed off a new Killing Floor. I've heard that the second Killing Floor was not as well received as the first.
yeah, that's probably why they're still showing it up. It's Killing Floor, like
This was a new Killing Floor, it looked like, from what we saw. This was a third Killing Floor.
yeah, I think it was a spin-off.
Or a spin off, sure. Could have been that. It was hard to know. Because
So
we tuned into a stream that was in Spanish. We couldn't understand what they were saying, but we saw the words Killing Floor on the screen, so it was Killing Floor, but we don't know what they were saying. Um,
I think it was Killing Floor Incursion.
Still doesn't tell us if it was a spin off or a sequel. Let me tell you what the sequel to Prey was called yesterday. Prey.
Prey.
Oh, by the way, um, he said for the Quake Champions thing, I watched it again afterwards.
Yeah,
He
it's
mentioned that they had unique abilities.
yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see whether or not it's also just abilities or if it's also going to change your weapon loadout.
I believe he said unique abilities and loadouts.
It's going to be interesting. It sounds like Hero Shooter meets Quake.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought it was going to be, and then we talked over him talking, and we didn't hear him actually confirm that.
So
That was our bad. He did in fact explain what the game was. We were just talking over him. We were so excited to move Quake. Um,
But yeah, it's
so
been how long since Enemy Territory? Quake
uh,
Wars?
nearly 10 years, isn't it? When
No,
it
it's
comes
been a
out,
long.
because it was it 2008 it came out, and this will be coming out in 2017 in theory, or maybe 2018. It might be a good 10 years in between them.
Enemy Territory Quake Wars that came out in 2007.
Oh, 2007. Okay, so
So,
yeah, it will definitely be 10
so
years
10
then.
years since we got a new Quake.
Yeah.
Because everybody was all like Quake 4, and then there was Quake Wars, and then people are like, where's the sixth Quake? We want like a multiplayer shooter that's Quake related, it's called Quake, since Quake 1 had a different universe, Quake 3 had a different universe. It was no universe.
Right.
So, but people just wanted a new Quake, and it's like, all right, 10.
It was interesting. I was also watching some of Giant Bomb's commentary, and they were pointing out that the new Doom single player is a lot more like Quake single player than it is like traditional Doom single player.
Yeah, because the enemy, you're fighting beefier, meatier enemies.
And there's that element of verticality that obviously Doom never had because it just wasn't technically capable of stacking rooms on top of each other.
Yeah, so there's
And
that too.
so you have the verticality, you have the jumping, and just the
Bullet sponges.
right. Yeah. So in a lot of ways, it's very similar in its level design and in its enemy design to Quake, more so possibly than even the original Doom. So in a way, we've already gotten an updated Quake single player. It was just called Doom.
Yeah. Well, did you ever play Brutal Doom?
No, I have not.
Ah, that's what the new Doom was based off of. That's why they scrapped the original Doom 4 and got rid of Carmack.
I think they got rid of Carmack because he wanted to work on VR.
That's part of it, but it's also the fact that his version of Doom 4 was not anywhere near as good as what one guy in Brazil, one Brazilian guy was able to do.
I mean, Carmack is an engine designer. He's not a mechanics designer, so
Right, but I'm talking to how they scrapped everything and just decided to do like something that played more like Brutal Doom. You ever?
I understand what you're saying, but like I don't think you can lay the um gameplay mechanics on Carmack's feet because he's not a game designer. He's an engine designer.
Right, that's true. But I'm saying that id scrapped everything. They scrapped the whole post-apocalyptic demons on Earth thing with with Doom 4 because they saw
Right.
that somebody created a Doom mod
Right. All
that
right. All right. No,
added
I understand what you're saying, and I'm familiar with Brutal Doom, but
yeah.
um man, you should. John Carmack was at Microsoft's press conference.
Oh, he was?
He was wearing an Oculus Rift headset showing off Minecraft.
Yeah, because I know that he's big into VR now.
He works at Oculus.
I know.
So
That's
that's why he was at showing off an Oculus demo. But
Is Oculus coming to Xbox One?
no, Minecraft is on PC.
I thought they were bringing Oculus to Xbox One then because it was Microsoft.
It made it the way when they were talking about the new Xbox One, they specifically mentioned VR as one of its features.
That's why they're pumping up the graphics card
Mm-hmm.
and trying to boost it up.
I think they are trying to make it so that they can have Oculus work. Because I just don't think Oculus. I don't think the Xbox One is capable of doing VR right now.
Yeah, because wasn't powerful enough for
Right.
VR, so the new one is powerful enough for
Right. Yeah.
VR.
Yeah.
So
I think that's going to be one of the key things is that it will be VR capable.
yeah,
So um
so there's that, and then of course they're showing something off with something where you Twitch is looks like they're public moving into publishing games,
yeah.
and it looks like from just streaming them to publishing, it looks like they're doing something where it's a puzzle game where
Oh, is this published by Twitch?
looks like it
I think might just be a Twitch stream.
could could be, but it says that Twitch is a sponsor for the E3 PC gaming thing.
Yes, so is PC Gamer, the magazine, but the Turing test. I feel like I've heard of that. I have no idea what I just watched, though. I mean, I know what I watched. I
Yeah,
watched a guy throw some different squares
electricity
at different electrical
squares at
circuits.
doors and shoot electricity to turn things on. And
I don't know what that has to do with the Turing test, but sure, okay,
yeah, that looked different.
but
I'm
not
not sure.
necessarily in a good way, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of game that's going to be and what the objective is to how you do it. I'm not like the gameplay footage wasn't.
It wasn't like maybe it's because I have the sound off. Was he talking? Do you have sound on yours?
He was talking about it, but at the same time, I
Oh, you
think the
still aren't
gameplay.
any clearer of what it's supposed to be? Because watching that footage, I was like, literally watching a guy throw boxes at doors to make circuits.
Yeah, same here. It felt like
And I'm like,
it's trying to be Portal without being Portal, but they didn't have
I
anything
tried
that's.
taking electric circuitry in college. I like dropped out of that class because I hated it. So no way do I want to play a game where I have to do it.
Yeah.
If that's the entire game, that sounds like possibly one of the worst ideas for a game I've ever heard. But then again, there are people who liked, build circuits for fun. So I guess, there are people who would like it. But for me, that sounds awful.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
What's this? What are they showing now?
Not sure. It's definitely got the same art style as The Long Dark.
So for people watching at home, Ubisoft is going to start in 20 minutes or so, and Matt's going to continue to watch this, and I'll watch Ubisoft. Assuming this doesn't end before then, this might end right.
Overland.
Over.
Overland.
Okay, what's Overland? Is he telling us about it? Also, I want to punch that man in his face right now. I can't even hear him, and I want to punch him. He looks so smug.
World premiere.
Okay, pre-alpha build of uh, uh, a man. He's a man. He's in a planet. It's like No Man's Sky, but with bad graphics.
Looks like this is untextured here.
Yeah,
It says that it's pre-alpha.
it does
So
say
I would
pre-alpha,
think
but this is like way pre-alpha. You think you could put a texture on your demo?
is this Star Citizen?
No, no. Star Citizen looked better than this 2 years ago. I have no idea what this is. This is someone trying to take that Star Citizen and No Man's Sky money, but making something that doesn't look as good as either of those games.
Yeah, Overland was a survival game.
Okay.
Art style was very minimalistic. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
This part looks a bit better. I don't
This
have
part
like.
looks interesting. This
Yeah,
this game looks interesting.
sure. Dual universe.
That actually piqued my interest. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess I need to know more. If there's more to it than what No Man's Sky and Star Citizen are doing, then
well, it's an MMO version of it.
okay. I'm not interested again.
Yeah, sandbox MMO.
Okay, scratch that one off my list. What else was interesting at Microsoft? I was gonna say that John Carmack presentation that was awful.
Yeah, it looks like dual universe is something out there that was think Second Life meets Flight Sim meets being able to travel through various planets.
Okay, not interested.
Yeah, I mean, I admire the production values, but
I actually don't admire the production values. This game looks really ugly.
well, yeah, they just didn't add any textures to it.
I mean, who like? Okay, this is the opening shot of your E3 demo.
And yeah, there's
There are
no
textures for the rest of the game. Like you can see textures on trees, and there are textures on this ship. Why wouldn't you texture your freaking opening shot of your demo?
yeah, that looks
Like who'd have thought, man, we should start in this part here where we haven't actually finished the graphics yet. This looks really nice. No, it doesn't. But then they go to showing that city section and it looks a lot
yeah.
better. It's like, why did you not start with the city section that actually looks finished? And like even this looks better because it's in space, and so it's like, okay, I like your lighting here, and this section here that they're showing right now looks fine. But
Yeah,
why
you
did
get
they
to
open
build
with
like
that awful looking section?
again, it's pre I think that they wanted to show things before they were ready just to get it ready for E3 and didn't have the time to do it.
Of all the things they could have not textured,
I
though,
know. I know.
like
That
I
just
worry about a game
awful.
if that is their like it makes me question like their like
Well,
ability to
it's
decide what the most
fully
important things to be working on.
customizable universe, so it's like Second Life with just as much copyright infringing material.
Okay.
Players build their own things and their own textures, so it's
Okay.
build your whole universe, entire planets, travel through them.
Right. Okay.
Basically, Second Life, but with better flight mechanics and better movement mechanics.
Okay. Second Life, you can fly upwards infinitely into nothingness. So, you know.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that, except in infinite into nothingness means you get to build your own planet in that nothingness.
Yeah, that sounds better than Second Life, I guess.
So it's gonna be, mm,
I'm sure there are people that will love it, but it will not be for me.
yeah. I'm cautious about that one. It's not an instant buy. It's one I might wish list depending on reviews.
Yeah. Yeah, that John Carmack was brought into one of those fake multiplayer demos that they do sometimes at these things, where they're like trash talking each other and stuff, but scripted. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Speaking of old id devs, isn't I want to see if that whole thing with John Romero's new game.
Yeah. After Daikatana, I don't think I ever want to play a game by him again. But
It's John Romero. It's Black Room.
yeah, no,
Uh,
he's working on it with his wife, isn't he? She's a good developer,
yeah,
and
and Adrian Carmack.
yeah, and like I don't know, just after Daikatana, I don't know if I ever want to play a John Romero game again.
Well, you got to remember that he was like partially responsible for like Doom and Quake, and that his he at the same time that Daikatana came out at his studio also worked on Anachronox and the first DSX, and those are great.
Deus Ex was a different branch run by Warren Spector, and
Right, but Romero still had some oversight of that.
no, he didn't. Those two branches were entirely autonomous from each other.
Hmm.
Um, they weren't even in the same city.
Oh, we're even in the same city, so yeah.
Um, yeah, there was the basically the branch that was ex id people and the branch that was ex Looking Glass people, and the branch that was the ex Looking Glass people did well. The branch that was the ex id people did not.
Uh,
Um, But yeah, I actually am interested, but honestly more because of his wife. What's her name? Roberta?
Brenda.
Brenda. She works on adventure games usually.
Yeah, and then that it's we're gonna see like what happens when they pulled the Kickstarter for it though.
Yeah. Did they pull it because it wasn't going to make it, or was it one of those cases where they found another funding source?
Found another funding source and
Yeah.
they wanted to finish the gameplay demo. They found more funding and they're like, oh, we can get this thing into pre-alpha before we put it
Yeah.
on
Okay.
Kickstarter.
Well, that's a good sign then. Usually, if you can
Problem
get a
is that
publisher to publish it, then you know.
that's what Eternal Darkness did, and then they put it back on Kickstarter and nobody funded it.
Yep.
Or not Eternal Darkness, Shadow of the Eternals.
I know what you were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not
Well,
entirely sure if people are gonna be like, oh, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. So I'm not going to fund it now. I mean, that's the big worry.
yeah. I know. We'll see.
But it's
I
only
mean,
coming out in late 2018.
I think Silicon Knights had the issue that they just had lost gamers' trust entirely by that point.
Yeah, they had that big issue with Epic Game, that lawsuit with Epic
Games,
Games,
yeah, and Two Human was not very good, and then they did that X-Men game that was awful.
and then they had one of their programmers got arrested for child pornography.
Yeah, let's just say they were not a very liked company at that point. And so I don't think anyone trusted them with their money. And
Uh,
probably rightly so, coming from these stories from inside the studio of how poorly they mismanaged things.
yeah.
Is this 343? Did he say 343s here? Here's your Halo 5 reveal. No, this is probably Halo
Yes, he
Wars.
did. Halo Wars, yeah.
This is Halo Wars 2. It's head of strategy games at 343. So,
Halo Wars, yeah. It's just I see 343 and I'm like,
but they
Halo
did
5?
they talked about bringing Halo 5 to PC. They have talked about doing that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm still watching the E3 PC gaming stream in the hopes that they'll bring Half-Life 3 out.
you know, if Half-Life 3 comes out, then Ubisoft can go suck it, and I'll watch the PC gaming stream.
But at the same time, the question is, if Valve were ever going to do Halo Half-Life 3, then they would have done it by now. I don't think that
I
they
disagree. I think
talk about how they don't care about single-player games anymore.
I think I think there's another option, and that's that they were waiting for this new generation of consoles because their vision was not going to be possible on the old consoles, and their vision was going to be too expensive to just put on PC.
And there's also the question of, the fact that they kept restarting development on it and
Well,
going
they
in
were also
directions.
they were trying to build an open world, and they were trying to use Source to
Yeah.
do it, and Source is not a good engine for that. And so I think there were a couple. I think there were technical issues. I think it was mostly that their vision for it was not possible with the engine they had. It was not possible on the consoles that existed at the time. And so I think there's a good argument to be made that they have basically been waiting for the technology to catch up with their vision. And whether or not the technology is now there, or they're waiting for another generation to pass before the technology is there.
Well, if they
But
wait for another generation to pass, and at that point, nobody's going to care.
I mean, maybe, I don't know.
It seems like they're mostly focused on things like Dota. They care more about things like Dota, Left 4 Dead, and Counter Strike and Team Fortress 2.
I think there's like, I mean, those are just the things that they have that are out that have been revealed. They're certainly working on another game.
Are you sure they're not working on another game and not working on just updating what they've got now?
I doubt it. I mean, what would they need a whole studio for that?
Updates for Left 4 Dead 2, Team Fortress 2, Dota 2.
But again, like you're making the same mistake that many people make in thinking that every game designer performs the same function, and that's not true. People are specialized, and you don't need a concept artist to.
Well, you need a concept artist for new
Okay, You need a
skins in Team
concept artist to
Fortress.
make new skins, and then you do the concept art. Then what do you do? What's your next job? You're a concept artist. All you do is draw concept art.
Alternate between all the new stuff that you're going to be dropping in Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Team Fortress 2.
You don't need
It's
concept
constant
art
cycle.
for Counter Strike because that's based off real world. You just use the actual images of the real world objects you're making. So that you need very limited, and also you don't have the same guy draw you mechanical designs as you do creature designs. Those are two different jobs. Like people who are good at drawing weapons are not necessarily good at drawing creatures, and vice versa. So, those are two different people. So, it's just at a studio of that size, people are very, very specialized.
Well,
And
they
unless
lost the lead writer. They lost
yes,
their
they,
lead
they did
writer.
they did lose the lead writer, but he's the only person from my knowledge, there's been no mass exodus of people, which says to me that they're still working on single player games.
Well, they got to replace Laidlaw though.
They do. I mean, okay, you can't replace him. He's probably the best writer who's ever written games. So, oh,
Huh?
did you see he announced what he's working on?
What?
He's writing that Prey revival.
Oh, nice. Then I might actually care about the. I never played the first Prey, but I might actually care about the new one.
I think it was him. Someone tweeted last night, and I'm pretty sure it was him. That hey, guess what? The thing I'm doing is writing that. No, it wasn't him. It was Chris Avellone.
Chris Avila. Ah.
That's who it was.
Then yeah, that's somebody out there that I'd like to see write.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
yeah. There
do
was.
a good job
I,
with
I
it.
knew there was someone, a big writer who had recently quit, who announced that they were doing that. It was Chris Avellone. So that I thought that was pretty cool. He's also a really solid writer. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I think Mike Laidlaw said that he wanted to work on something a personal, like a novel type thing. I think he left game development entirely. So I don't think that was from the interviews he's given, it doesn't sound like there's any animosity towards Valve. He was just, he's a writer, so he wanted to move on, try to write a different type of thing. That happens.
yeah,
But
we'll
if,
see
if
what
there was
happens
a
next.
if there was a major change in direction, then there are people who whose focus is on making a single player level that you don't need in your company anymore. Because a multiplayer level designer is a different job than a single player level designer.
Right, and it
And
seems
so
like after
you'd hear stories of Valve just laid off 50 people because they don't need single player level designers, and they don't need single player scripters anymore, and so on and so forth. They don't need people to do as much voice acting. They don't need, there's a ton of stuff that you need in single player you don't need in multiplayer, at least to the same extent. And
yeah, again, I think that that's true.
so that
Question is just why have they not done a single player game since Portal 2?
I think that, well, one, this is Valve we're talking about. They're perfectionists. They take forever to make anything. I think they've been working on it, and I think their own expectations for quality are so ridiculously high that every time they get to a point where they show it off to Gabe, he's like, "This isn't good enough. Start over." I know for a fact that he did that multiple times with Half-Life 2. He said so himself.
They showed Day of Infamy, which is
Yes, I'm still watching it. It looked like a multiplayer shooter though, so I wasn't necessarily super
looked
excited.
like it was a World War II multiplayer
Get to a
shooter
point
from
where
I thought the Kratos from Insurgency thing
Yeah,
had me interested, but then it showed that it's World War II, and we've already had so many World War II multiplayer shooters,
yeah,
and like things like Day of Defeat and Medal of Honor, Allied Assault and Call of Duty 2
The
and
trailer.
Call of Duty World at War. Those games still exist. You can still play.
yeah,
If you have friends who own them, you can just get them to re-download them
yeah,
and play them.
yeah.
So
That's not
I don't
not necessarily.
the most innovative thing out there. It's
No,
been done
no,
to death.
no, not at
'Cause,
all.
yeah,
So here's a question for you, coming off of Microsoft's thing, and now watching this and seeing that we're seeing a lot of the same games. Even, do you think
yeah.
if you were, are you don't have an Xbox One, do you?
No, I just got a PC.
Okay, say you were a person who had purchased an Xbox One. Would you be mad about this?
I'd be mad at the fact that they would ask me to buy either a whole new console or switch to PC.
Well, I mean, okay, yeah, but in addition, though, so there's that element. One of like, I just bought this console like 2 years ago, and now you want me to buy another one. But there's also the fact that, oh, and now all the games that you told me I was going to get for this console, I can just get on my PC.
Yeah.
Like, do you think
Well,
that's a justifiable reason to be angry about this
a
situation?
PC is still pretty expensive.
That's true. Like, that's true. But in combination with the fact that
To just be getting the cheap, but well, yeah, every console game is the cheap budget version of a PC game, except for the ones that don't go to PC.
but now everyone goes like the whole point of getting a console to me has always been, hey, I get exclusive games that I can't get on PC.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
It's
because
that.
here's the thing, PCs are expensive, but if all I want to do is play at a console quality, then it's not that much more expensive than a console. And
Yeah,
it's like, okay, and say I spend an extra $100 buying the individual components for a PC over buying a console, I will save that within a year on the fact that I can get all the games in humble bundles and Steam sales for a tenth of the price as I get them on console. So it's simply not true. Like, if I want to play PC games and I don't care about their quality, I'm playing at a console level graphics, then it's not a more expensive endeavor. What
yeah,
is
that's
this?
true.
This Mirage.
Mirage.
That look
That
pretty neat.
looks like it was made on the cheap though.
Yeah,
Like it looked like more like a game mod, but it's from
almost.
Torn Banner, and I think I've heard of them.
I've
What are
heard
they
of them
from?
too. I'm not sure how I've heard of them, but I have heard of them. Um, but yeah, like I guess if I was an Xbox One owner who had bought an Xbox One at
They made
launch,
Chivalry. They made
okay,
Chivalry.
gotcha.
It's
That looked like
so
Chivalry, but in a fantasy setting. So that made sense.
yeah,
That makes sense.
it's Chivalry with magic. So
That would be cool. I'd be into that.
it could be cool. It's just
Um,
that Chivalry combat was a bit unwieldy.
yeah, but guess what was a bit unwieldy? Actual
Real,
combat
yeah,
in.
actual combat. It was made. It was made to be realistic, except it appeals more to the people out there who want a combat, who want like a multiplayer melee combat sim than like a fast-paced hack and slash thing.
Right. And
I,
that like there are a lot of people who want that. Like that game's been super successful, so
Yeah, I'm surprised at how successful it was.
I think people sometimes underestimate the number of people who are interested in role playing that type of thing to a very extreme level.
If that's the case, then how come Arma doesn't sell as
Arma
well
sells
as
quite a bit.
it does?
Yep, it's not a huge. It's not as big as Chivalry, but it is quite a major seller.
Ah, well,
Part of the thing is like we don't see the sales of PC games as much because Steam doesn't necessarily release those figures to the public.
yeah, and I don't think that uh, Ubisoft's Uplay and EA's Origin do that much either.
No, that's the difference. Like with console games, a significant portion of the sales are still coming from retail, and we get monthly NPD reports on that. You know,
Exactly. So it's hard to say. Like,
right. So for PC, where as much as like 90% or more of some games' sales are coming from digital services that aren't releasing that info, it unless the actual company tells you that a game is profitable, which we know for a fact they've said Arma is profitable. I mean, they've made 3 of them, but knowing exactly how profitable is impossible to say. There's no publicly available data for that.
yeah, it looks like Mages of Mistralia. What is this? And what is going on with Ubisoft?
Is it started?
Ubisoft started just now, but they're just doing a stage show. Looks like are they publishing Katamari now?
Let's see. Oh, this is weird.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to stop the stream and then we will restart it after all these stuff is done. There's way too much
Hey,
going through my
everybody,
internet right now,
thank
so
you.
we'll be back
Wow.
in.